There's 7 days in a week. Each day I'll study a subject for 3 hours. I don't care what I'm going to study. I'm going to study something.
Okay.
That was the mentality. Like, I don't think people understand what pressure is until you get to like investment banking flow. Try and manage your expectations, right? Like, it's nice to be in finance, wearing a suit and all of it, but you're gonna work hard. So manage your expectations to develop an execution-based mindset, more practical, as opposed to all of this fluff, knowing where I grew up from, where I'm from.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm not from the best circumstances. So obviously, if you want to get out from there, there was only one way for me, which is education. So before you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, how much time do I need to spend on design such that it equates to me finishing this module at the end of the semester.
You find yourself doing a degree, and at the end of the day you don't have a job.
Yeah.
But you knew from the get-go, like, you don't have they don't absorb people in that field.
You're young, you can recover. If you don't like it, you can always like make a move back into engineering, all of it. So that was my mindset at the time. Did it upset a lot of people? Maybe it did. I don't know.
Hi guys, welcome to P Squared Podcast. Today I have a special individual, and then if you want to know about this special individual, just stick around and you'll understand. So I have Elrico De Makwa.
Yeah.
How's it been? Welcome to P Squared Podcast.
Good to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Okay. Thank you for being here. You're the one that will be sharing all the wisdom and stuff. So appreciate it. So I'm gonna start first with the game. You're gonna pick let's say 3 cards.
Okay.
Actually, let's make it 5. Then I'll just drop it down to 3.
Okay.
If there isn't any interesting.
Cool.
Anyway, just pick.
Okay. I pick them all in one go.
Yeah, just 3. Don't look at them. You give it back to me.
Okay.
There you go. Let's do.
Let's do this, and let's take the top one. Yeah.
Okay. Then give me that. Well, you plead the 5th. There's no plea in the 5th. You are in court, so only honest answers.
Okay.
Okay, cool. First one. When you get angry, when you get really angry, how do you help yourself calm down?
I'd lie and say count to 10, but that's not the case. That's not the case. I think when I'm really angry, I am good with like handling my emotions, so I'll just sort of walk it off.
Yeah, okay.
Same old walk it off. I think it works. I think when you weigh the consequences of what you can do when you're angry versus, what you can save yourself from, you sort of like reason to logic. So yeah.
So 10 o'clock. You are walking it off.
Yeah, I mean, walk in the yard area.
Your complex, yeah. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Second one, when you make a mistake, why are these questions linked? When you make a mistake, are you able to repair things so that you end up feeling okay?
To some extent, yeah, depending on how big the mess is, right, or the mistake. But overall, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of mistake you say like, nah, this is it.
This is it.
Yeah.
Well, I think in your professional life at work, that can be fixed. I think it's when it comes to people, like interrelations and all of that stuff. For example, like not telling something to someone they should have known before time. You make a mess up there, then it's a bit more harder to fix, right?
Okay.
Something like that would be more difficult for me, yeah.
Yeah, you have an employee, they make you lose 10 million. You still forgive them or you fire them?
Well, I think we need to do an investigation on that, right? Because, you can get money back. You can always get money back depending on how the person did. Was it blatant? Was it a mistake?
Yeah. So, okay. What scares you the most and why?
Yo, dude, I think this is a universal sort of like thing that scares most people when they reach their mid-20s. Like, where am I going?
Yeah,
that scares me the most.
See, I can relate. Mid-20s, yeah. And sometimes you'll be going on social media, you see like they say like mid-20, 25 to 35.
Dude,
it's rough.
Dude.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think, because I mean, I think you reach a certain point in your 20s, right? Like 20 to 25, you make a mistake, you don't know what you're doing with your life. People are like, yeah, okay, we understand. When you're between 25 and 30, now it's serious. Now it's like, dude, why aren't you here yet? Why aren't you doing this? So yeah.
Man, as you grow old, people don't have. You don't get that much grace because you are getting old now. You can't just be making risk and taking risk and just doing things out of like, oh, I'm still young. You're not. So
Time is running out. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna complete 5 of them.
Yeah.
What is the quality you wish you could have more of?
I would say the quality I wish I could have more of, discipline, if it's even a quality, or let me say,
I don't know what this man is talking about. He's lying because he's very disciplined. So yeah.
No, like obviously there's I feel like there's many facets to discipline, right? Like you can be disciplined at work, you can be disciplined when you're at home. I think I have eating disorder to some degree, and I'll tell you why. Because usually you should be eating high nutrient density foods. I think I opt more for like your easy energy givers, like your chocolates and all of that stuff. So that's one of the aspects I wish I had more discipline in. I feel like I could manage my time more better.
Okay.
So such things, yeah.
But you eat a lot, like those chocolates and stuff. You also work it off.
Yeah.
In his class to up. You fight.
Yeah, and then you stay at the same place, right? Because there's no accumulation.
Yeah,
right?
you stay in the same place. Hey, you want to be big?
Yeah.
If you want to be big, then you can still eat more.
Yeah.
Work out less.
I've been struggling to gain weight. That's the thing. So, I don't know. I think I'll just control it.
Yeah. So anyhow, people outside want to bulk up, and people that are big and stuff, they want to cut this stuff.
Yeah.
It will never, like, wherever you are not, that's where you want to go. Exactly. And when you get there, it's not interesting.
In your opinion, is it easier to sort of like cut or bulk from your personal experience?
From where I am, for me, it's easy to cut.
Or easy?
Yeah, to tone it down, because I was in athletics, and I know if I want to just cut it down very fast, I know what to do.
Yeah, okay.
But again, with that, I lose a lot of muscle, and I get annoyed. I was like, I worked hard for this thing.
Exactly.
Now it's gone. Then when you go to the gym, you see you lifting this like light with, like, no man, I could lift like twice as much as this, but what's happening?
Yeah.
So it's just that, but the whole time was just like bulking up was like is the issue.
Is the issue? Huh?
Yeah, and eating a lot. People don't realize it's traumatizing.
It's traumatizing.
It's traumatizing. Eating 5 times in a day is just traumatizing. People just don't get it. But
that is a lot.
Yeah, it's just like that thing again. You say like you're struggling with discipline. People don't see. They only see the bicep, the shoulders. Oh, this guy is getting big. They don't see like the consistency behind it. They don't see the discipline behind it. The food. I don't like eating healthy as well. I'll eat whatever I want, whenever I want, and I can work it off. It's that simple. Yeah. Just like every time eating healthy, it's not for me.
Yeah, no, I get you. I think it's a blessing in disguise that we have these type of bodies where like you can just break down junk. And
I'm happy my metabolism is very
same.
So last one. If you could have a conversation with anyone in history, who would it be?
Anyone in history. I think it would be, let me think. See, I want to aim at someone that's a bit more philosophical.
Yeah, okay.
Because so I think I'd probably have a conversation with Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich. I think the philosophy used to write that book, I don't know where he got it from. I'd like to know, because there's principles in that book that have built industries, saved marriages, all of those things. help people become professionals. So I'd really want to have a conversation with him, ask him how did he get the inspiration, the creativity, especially in the time that he was living. He was living, I think, in the Great Depression, 1930s, early 1920s. So to have that level of mindset of abundance in a period of lack.
Yeah, and that will like extend throughout generations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like those like practical examples. So, you know, like I didn't finish that book, but I read the Atomic Habits. Some of the stuff that I read from the Atomic Habits, they were in there. I was like, I feel like I'm reading the same, but it's different. Like there's some of them additional stuff, but I was like, yeah.
Atomic Habits is a good one. Huh? Been meaning to read it, but I didn't get time.
It's good.
It's a good one.
Yeah, if you're not ready to let go of toxic relationship, toxic people, toxic habits, don't read your book.
I shouldn't read it.
Don't read it.
Yeah, maybe I should hold off a bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you shouldn't, because but it will help you. You'll become a better person.
Is that the book that found that whole philosophy or that principle that like 1 to the power 365 is 1?
Oh, yes.
1.01.
Yes, that's the one.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Like 1% change every single day. Builds up,
Compounds,
Yeah, compounds. Like that little, like tiny changes become big things.
They become big things,
They become big things.
Yeah, because I noticed even like when you try like changing who you are, changing certain habits, it's nice to wake up with motivation, inspiration one morning, like, you know what, I'm going to change. And then you do that for a week. And then after a week, it's
motivation is not enough.
It's not enough.
It's not enough.
It's not enough.
It's not enough. Yeah, but you should check it. You see, I have it here. Finish all of it. All of it.
Yeah, it's a solid one, eh?
Yeah.
Seems like a very practical book as well.
It is.
The law of least effort.
Yeah. So you see, the person that got me is like, as a birthday gift, sitting behind the camera.
That's a thoughtful. What was the inspiration behind the gift? Is it just like?
And you told me.
No, one time I told him I want to buy his book. And then I never bought it, then he got it for me.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, I was like, wasting time.
That's something nice.
Yeah, so my first book that I read and finished. First time in my life.
Yeah. Was that good?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know like...
First time I read a book and finished it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the same as you. Like, I can't really read for too long.
Yeah.
I hate it. But yeah, it is what it is.
The reason why I finished it again, it was like one thing that I got in there as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Don't read the whole book. You won't finish it in one go. Just read 2. If you are not used to reading, read 3 pages.
Yeah.
Then change after a week, read 5.
Yeah.
Keep on changing. 7, 10. And I just went on and on and on and just finished it. I was surprised when I get to it and I was like, oh, I finished the book.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, no.
I usually got like amazed when people say like, oh, I read 10 books in a year, 15 pages. I was like,
yeah, like where do you get the time, bro? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, so yeah, I was like, nah.
And you see, it's those kind of things that make people feel like they're behind or like they could be doing more, you know?
Yeah.
You hear someone on Instagram saying, yo, no, for the year, I've read like 50 books. It's like, Chief, what? So you're telling me you're averaging about 4 or 5 books a month?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I can never. So, getting into the main theme, man. I'm gonna skip through. I'm gonna skip through very quickly on your early academics, so primary and high school.
Yeah,
skip through it, but what I got is. From the special individual in your life. The man you were maintaining like your academic reputation.
Yeah.
Mr. Straight A's. So how do you do it then? It's like a gift, it's a natural thing, or you have to work for it?
I think...
Or it's a combination of the two?
Yeah, no, first of all, it wasn't straight A's, you know, we tried, but it wasn't straight A's, but nonetheless, it was a good achievement. I don't think it's natural. Like maybe some people it's natural, but for me, I believe in, it was hard work, man. It was brutal. Like throughout like high school, you know, started with the philosophy of doing like 3 hours of study work a day. So I thought about it was like, I have 7 subjects. There's 7 days in a week. Each day I'll study a subject for 3 hours. I don't care what I'm going to study. I'm going to study something.
Okay.
That was the mentality. And then once you ingrain that into your personality and who you are, that becomes you. That's when the A's come.
Yeah.
That's when the achievement comes.
So easy. Just put in the work, then the results, they come.
Yeah. Put in the work in the right direction, though.
Yeah.
You can't write life science tomorrow or whatever and study the mitochondria only. You know what I mean? Like,
You study today.
you study today. You know, like it's a lot of people preach hard work, but it's hard work in the right direction. You know.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people like working hard in the wrong direction, and then it seems as if life is unfair, but it's only because you didn't question the direction in which you're going.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think hard work, dedicate yourself, and just question your direction, where you're going.
Yeah. I guess again, like throughout that whole period, did you have like people that you bounce ideas with, like if questions and stuff? Because sometimes I'm just trying to get what you're saying right now when you say like find the right direction. Sometimes you think you're in the right direction, but you never ask anyone like close to you what is happening, or because if you think you're gonna work alone, then things are never gonna happen.
Yeah. No, that's actually a good point. Like basically like a mentor. I think early uni, I didn't have a mentor per se, but I had like people from high school that were guiding me to say like this, okay, you chose this is what I think you should do, because they've walked the path. So there was someone I was bouncing ideas from. And I mean, that also played a pivotal role in shaping how I developed my concept of myself during Varsity.
Yeah.
But I think mainly for me in Varsity, what gave me that extra guidance was the circle of friends I had. So, I mean, it's nice to have a mentor that's like older in life, but it's even better if you have someone who can question your actions and sort of like give you direction from their limited knowledge. What that does is it sort of like, it does two things. Number one, it obviously gets you on the right path. But number two, you don't feel like you're being told to do something. Because usually with like an older mentor, it's like, don't do this. They mean it out of the goodness of their heart, but you perceive it as this person is trying to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I'm the man. I made it to Vets. I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the importance of a mentor does contribute to like getting good marks, getting good grades. Another thing for me is you got to have the desire, man. And I know like I sound philosophical, man.
Yeah.
But you got to have the desire to do it. So one thing for me that kept the desire there was knowing where I grew up from, where I'm from.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not from the best circumstances. So obviously if you want to get out from there, there was only one way for me, which is education. So I took it quite serious. And you know, the thought of having my funding being pulled away from me if I don't perform. Yeah, that's a real thing in uni.
I know.
How did you cope with it?
Yeah, I know. So I can relate to that. So yeah. There's no time messing around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's no time messing around. But going back on what you said, when you mentioned like people like having a mentor and having like a close circle of people that you talk to, I remember this guy, Varsity De Makwa. He mentioned like you must have three things. You must have a mentor, you must have a coach, and you must have like a peer, like someone within your age you can talk to every day, bounce ideas with. Then the coach can talk to that person like once a week. Then you have a mentor, you can talk to that person like once a month. You don't depend on that mentor. Like if the mentor is not there, at least you can still have the energy to keep going.
Exactly.
Because if you have only mentor, then what's happening? Like,
exactly.
You meet that person once a month.
Yeah.
You're going through a lot of things, like 31 days, 30 days. What you gonna do with it?
Yeah, no, that's true, man. I think that's a good one. You shouldn't really isolate yourself on this journey. But again, like dynamics are different for different people, but there is a standard blueprint. Like you said, like you have a coach, you have a mentor, you have peers that you can bounce ideas off of. Yeah, I think,
Yeah. And one thing again is, I mentioned like the background where you're from. Both of us, we not from the best. Not to mention, we not from the best background where we have like a silver spooning or anything like that. So, like, what kind of mentality must you have? Like, like people that are around in the neighborhood, things that are happening there, to just live in your own world, to make sure like that doesn't affect you and you don't fall for the like peer pressure and stuff.
Yeah.
So what kind of mentality, like how you keep yourself grounded, like see the bigger picture?
I'll answer this question in two parts. Number one, I'll say what type of mentality do you need to have? And number two, if you are in that situation, how to develop that mentality.
Yeah.
The type of mentality, and I think you will resonate a lot with this because we grew up in similar circumstances. Yo, man, like, I think you have to have because remember, this place now is a place where you're consistently exposed to like vices.
Yeah.
Like most of the time you're surrounded by vices, they're not, So you got to have a mindset of, you know what, I know what I want. And you have to back that up by desire. There has to be a desire to want to change. If you think about Newton's first law, he says an object in rest will stay in rest unless acted on by an unbalanced external force. If you don't, and that external force for us is desire. If you have the desire to change, it's going to reflect in your emotions, in your habits, and in your actions. So you need to have a desire to change. And then after getting that desire to change, I think it'll fortify the mindset that you need because it becomes habitual. Becomes habitual. So I have the mindset of I know what I want. Have the mindset of and this is gonna be a bit controversial, but you should think that you're better than people. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
You should think that you're better than people. And I'll tell you why. Because when you tell yourself, you know what, I'm better than people, not that you're putting other people down, but you're telling yourself, you know, I'm better, it's gonna hold you accountable to actually prove that to yourself.
Yeah.
So that's the second part of that. Like, know what you want, back it up by desire, and just think that you're better. Like, I mean, you don't have to, if you're not that person, just think that, you know what, I need to be better than what I was yesterday.
Yeah. I'm thinking about this. I think they call it African proverb. If there's no something, just gonna paraphrase it, but it's more like if there's if you're like strong internally, like on yourself personally, then the noise outside won't affect you anyway. Yeah. So when you say you must tell yourself like I'm better. Why you keep on telling yourself all the time, or whether it's looking in the mirror like I'm better or I'm like this, I'm like that, you start believing it and you become exactly that.
You become exactly
because I've done it so many times and I've looked back, I was like, oh, that was crazy, but it turned out very well. Yeah,
man. And I mean, I know you but I know you're an athlete. You can even see it manifest in like, you know, you being an athlete, because people around you, they don't really take that serious, but you not only did well in your academics, but you extended that out to your...
Exactly.
So I get you.
So for me, it was more like whatever I learned in athletics was like in academics and everything.
Yeah.
And it's like that people think you're crazy when you talk about, but it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And everything for me that is physical is always meant like push towards everything that I'm doing. So, and it works out very well.
Okay, so it's transferable basically.
Yeah, it's very, all of it. Whatever things I learn, principles, whether it be lifting weights or whatever.
The principle is the same.
Same. Put the work, be consistent, you'll see the result.
Yeah.
You not see it today, not like you're lifting 50 kilograms today, then you'll see the pump tomorrow again.
Yeah.
Consistently.
And that comes from that mindset, right? That
Even if we're at work, someone might say no today, but tomorrow you find somebody else.
Yeah.
Someone will help. If no, try again.
Yeah, try again. Yeah.
Until you get that person that will help. So simple as that.
Yeah.
Then, before we move, it's just like one thing again. Your partner mentioned was like one thing that she's very like more like proud of was like where you come from and stuff, and the person that you have created, who you've developed yourself into, is like truly amazing. Yeah. It's just like amazing to her in her eyes. So like she's like really proud of the person that you've become. So yeah.
No, that's shout out to her. Shout out to her. You see, I still get shy when I see someone.
Mention like man is a macho man on the street, but inside the house, love it.
Yeah, you know how it is. You know how it is.
Okay. But fast forward, Varsity, chemical engineering is a no joke.
Yeah.
It's no joke.
Yeah.
And then even if you are from high school, it's like engineering discipline that has the highest APS score.
Yeah.
APS score or APS? The S is for score.
Yeah.
Which one is that?
I'll say APS score.
APS score. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
because I remember my time, I think it was 46.
Yes.
It was 46.
Same, yeah.
It's still 46.
46. I'm not too sure now, but when I applied, it was 46.
Yeah. So
it's quite a lot, eh?
Yeah, it's quite a lot. Then the other ones were like 41, 42. Then
I think the only one higher than chemical engineering is actuary, if I'm not mistaken. Because I was on the waiting list for actuary.
For actuary?
Yeah.
You wanted to do actuary?
I wanted to. I was close to doing actuary.
But okay, I understand why now. It aligns. Okay. But now I understand why. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But like I said, chemical engineering is no joke. So how do you perform like so well? So well, we'll explain it later why so well. But how do you perform so well like in varsity that you just lend yourself like a golden key and Dean's List honors?
I think, so I got that in my first year. So I think it was still the momentum from high school. Coming out of high school, getting good grades, you get into uni. Number one, I think it was the momentum they carried over. But number two, more practical explanation of how I did it. I think it sort of like, also I was staying at home. I think it's a factor because when you're at res, especially in your first year, it becomes a bit hectic. So my habits were still the same as they were in high school.
Oh, okay.
And now that I had less subjects,
you only had to worry about studying.
No
cooking, nothing.
Exactly. So it was an advantage, right? It was an advantage. So I mean, so those habits still carried on into uni, and also because we had less subjects, so it was much easier to handle in terms of like, not in terms of volume or anything, but in terms of like having all of these things to do. It's just much easier to handle. I think because I had I think excellence is built on routine. I swear, I promise you, excellence. You need to have a routine of, okay, this time I'm doing this. Your time should not go to waste. Never, it shouldn't go to waste. I think it was built in routine. I had a set routine, as I mentioned earlier, with the whole 7 subjects thing while I was in high school. This time it continued. It's just the level of difficulty became more. And to compensate for that, I would advocate for being more vocal in class with peers and also with the lecturers. Just to make sure that like before you go home and you're on your own for the night, understand what this is.
Yeah.
So when you get home, you practice, you go over your notes. If you guys didn't get past papers at that point, do a past paper, and then once you get into that routine, you start practicing things, you start becoming more comfortable. That's how you excel. Simple, practical advice. I should actually sell us advice.
You should. That's what I'm thinking. This man is giving like mindset, the habits, like you should.
I'm a bit of a philosophical person. And
you should start coaching people.
I still need to master myself before I get there.
That's how you'll find it within. While you're still teaching someone, you'll find yourself like, oh, flap, I said this.
Your coaching journey is going well.
You should try it. You should try it.
I'll think about it.
Maybe sometimes, what did you say? The tree when it bears fruit is not for the tree, it's for other people.
It's for other people,
So even if you might have a great advice, but for you might not take it, but for other people might mean something else.
No, I get you 100%. That's what
you should just try.
I think I need to develop my personality a bit more. I mean, I don't have the balling personality that you have.
I don't.
Still getting there.
I don't have any personality here. But okay. But checking in, you did great. Summarizing like the academic journey of yours. And that's one thing I said like in the beginning when you said you're not disciplined. Yeah, well, your partner and I can disagree on that because you're like, the man was very strict when it's time to study. He's like, study, I need to leave right now. Like, you're only getting better when you start working. But when, like, in academics, like, I need to study this thing, you need to go and do it. Like, you don't compromise, nothing like that.
Yeah.
You will do it here and there for a while, but ultimately, like, you're like, nah, this needs to be done, it needs to get done.
Yeah, you need to develop an execution-based mindset, more practical as opposed to all of this fluff.
Yeah. Like,
I can't tell you I'm gonna study 8 hours in one go. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Break it up, be practical. So, I'm gonna do 2 hours now, 2 hours at noon, 2 hours between 3 and 5, and then again at night. Then you did 8 hours.
Yeah.
So I think it's more about being practical and then executing. You see, like you just mentioned with the coaching part, rather become a coach and then learn on the job. It's practical.
Yeah.
Same with me. I think it's more practical. Maybe I was a bit strict, but I was that strict because it was practical for me. I didn't feel overwhelmed when I thought about
works. It. No, as long as it works, do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
I agree.
Yeah. Then I saw your average, you said like in first year was 76. I was like, yes, this man would have smoked me. My first year, my first year was bad to a point where I was like, yo, if you mess up, Actually, when you got like the semester results, the only thing that I went first to was the fundamentals of process engineering. That was the only one. I did this on my phone. I was looking at it, and then everything I do was fine. Like mathematics, like those things are easy. Then I looked at it, I was like, yes, I know I passed. I still remember that mark today because I was only looking forward to that. It was 56. I was like, this will never happen again. I was like, this will never happen again. I will never want to stress myself like this looking at a transcript again. I was like, nope.
And you made a promise to yourself.
From there, I was like, nope. Every time results come out, I know I passed. It's just a matter of how you passed. So it was like that. I was like, nope, I'm not going to put myself in that situation. And I was like, my sponsor made it clear. You mess up, you're going to pay for that. And then looking at that course, it's like 5,000. I was like, where am I going to get 5,000 from?
Exactly.
Where I know my situation. Where am I going to get it from? I'm like, there's no chance for me to mess up.
But I know that's fundamental to process or engineering. That one is harder in the first year.
The unit conversions and everything.
Bro, like I'm getting slapped by converting from pounds to kgs.
I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, it's a simple thing like this. But from there, I just told myself, like, never again. So then, 76. This man got an average of a distinction in first year.
I think, again, it comes from that. I was also surprised by the mark. I won't lie. Like it, and because like comparison is the thief of joy. Sometimes there were people that got like 80s, 85. So in my eyes, I was like 76 only. 76,
but that's how this thing works, man. I've seen it at the gym. I've seen it at academic performance. I've seen it like even at work. The moment every time you go higher, you always want more. Right now, you have a salary. You always want more. It's just, you just make everything that you do, just like I give my all, then the results that comes out. Okay, next time we aim for higher, but it's just like
how do you cope with it? Do you sort of like just, because like, look, I'm developing it now where I'm like, you know what, maybe the grass isn't greener there, maybe it's greener where I water it.
Exactly.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, it is. It is greener where you water. You're just checking again, like even, like you say, like comparison the teeth of joint. If you check the gym, everybody goes to the gym, but we lift in different weights.
Lifting different weights, huh?
We lift in different weights.
And I know you can see the weight I'm lifting. In the corner of your eye, you're like, damn, those guys on a 46. What?
We lift in different. Same applies to life. We are there at work, all of us, but we carry different weights.
Yeah, we carry different weights.
So whatever you see that Elrico looks now in front of people like he's happy, you don't know what he's dealing with at home internally. So don't just like, I want his life, I want this. You don't know what they're dealing with.
No.
So just be grateful for what you have. And I will never say like, don't feel bad for wanting more. hey, you feel bad. You always want more.
Yeah.
You, especially as a guy, you must be a role model, and then not only for your woman. If you're gonna start a family, you have to be.
You have to be. Yeah.
That little babies, the whole family will be looking up to you. So
no, true, man. True.
So yeah, but let's not get into that. People will start talking about toxic masculinity.
None of it. Yeah, none of it. No comment on it.
So I have like a 3 questions now.
Okay.
So just go through them. It's just 3. I'm not gonna make you pick anyway.
Cool. No.
So yeah. So looking your final year, right? Finishing strong with distinctions in your final year. Like, did your approach change from first year to final year studying or anything, or like?
Yeah, it had to, because the subjects became more now. And you know, when we're at Verts, they do this one thing where like they tell you, okay, you know what, this semester you're gonna do design, the next semester you're gonna do research. And then these guys, they like now compress the design the design into one semester.
Yeah.
Or it was something like it.
They did that for you guys. I remember they started with you guys.
Bro, like I got cooked that year. Like I had no time. I know, I can't remember too well, but I know like one thing was compressed into another semester.
Yeah, for us, I remember designing and the research. All of them were full course, like full year.
Oh yes, that's it.
For you guys, they were like chopped it.
That's it. Yes. So they made our design one like semester and then research a semester.
I remember. Yeah.
Now the thing about design is, and I'm sure you know this very well. Like I remember we had to model a plant in Espen that sort of like produces is it biodiesel from a coal feedstock. So it's the whole process. You know, you take in oxygen air. You basically have your air separation units that gives you oxygen, and then you do the whole gasification thing. Yeah. But then now you have to strip out. Was it coal? It was I'm lying. It was a biodegradable source. The reason being is because I think it didn't have sulfur in it.
Oh, okay.
And then you produce it. Then you have to model the reactor. Then you have to model your distillation columns. That takes time. Now imagine doing all of it in a semester, and then you have like 6 other courses on the side.
From DSTW and RefRac.
Oh no, yo. Like it was such a mess. I had to change my approach. My approach at the 4th year of my studies was like, okay, we cannot allocate most of our time because at least design was group work. But like I was like, we're gonna allocate maybe like 3-4 days on design, and then the other 3 days on coursework and studying. So that was the strategy, and it turned out it worked. So I think
that's good.
I think on that, like, just if you're feeling overwhelmed, like let's say you have like or like in our case, like 9 courses and a design module that's taking a lot of your time. Before you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, how much time do I need to spend on design such that it equates to me finishing this module at the end of the semester. Now, I know that doesn't sound really practical, but you can sort of gauge.
Yeah.
Like I know we wrote like a 200-page document on that whole process.
Yeah.
So if you strategic with your group mates and you guys get your instructor involved early, you start early, you allocate the time that needs to be allocated, you work overtime, you do the stuff, you can get that done. And then the balance of your time, you can balance coursework.
Then how do you deal with that one individual? That one individual.
I know where you're going. All of us had him, right?
Yeah.
How did you deal with him? Let me hear you. Maybe we have similar.
Well, I still talk to that individual, so let's not talk about it.
Now, for me, we just did his work.
Yeah.
We just did his work. Look, because, I mean, what is it going to benefit me to say, yeah, you know what, if this guy doesn't do his work, I'm not going to worry. It's going to affect you. Your mark is
it's the same mark. That's the thing again.
So we're like, nah, we're just going to do this work. Then a few of my guys in my group and girls, obviously, we just came together and we split the work and we did it. Yeah. Found myself being on Teams calls like 5 o'clock in the morning, sleeping 3 hours, just because we had to cover for this person.
I don't know. Richard Water is sitting in.
Yeah.
sometimes I'll just sit and think. I was like, like those design group, it's more like at work, this multidisciplinary projects and stuff. This is somehow there will be that individual.
There will be.
Every time there will be that individual. So just try not to be that individual. That's what I tell myself. Don't try to be that individual. So,
because you set a bad reputation for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Imagine being known as the person that doesn't want to do anything.
Yeah, we don't recommend. Yeah, we know Rico. Nah, we don't recommend it.
Yeah. Now, you can ask anyone about Rico. They'll tell you this guy works.
Okay, cool. So let's see. So sometimes academic success doesn't tell the full story. So I always say like the side projects. Just academically, of course, that almost broke you, or a module that taught you something like, hey, nah. Like I'm saying, academic success doesn't tell story, maybe got 60%.
Yeah.
But the work that went behind that is not seen, but you know what went behind it.
I can tell you what module it is, and it's probably the same for the both of us. If not, then this guy's a genius.
Hey.
It's transport phenomena in third year.
Laplace transform.
Yeah. Well, Laplace transform, that's in the second year, right? It's mathematics in the second year.
Yeah, it is on mathematics. But there's this one, man, on transport, like there's this equation. We did a lot of derivations there.
Yeah, we did a lot. Was it the Stokes equation?
I know, Stokes was fine.
I don't think that.
I think it was after Stokes. There was one. I just, Yeah, but I couldn't get it. But my friend Roche was like, it was just easy for him. Yeah. It was just...
It was easy for him. Yeah. I need to meet his friend. Give me his number.
It was easy for him. Yeah.
No, that's good. For me, that subject was too abstract. I didn't understand why we're deriving certain things.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I could see the lesson it was trying to teach you, the critical thinking that comes when, look, if you're a process engineer on the spot, you don't know the flow through a pipe, but you do have certain parameters. You can use principles from transport phenomena to actually estimate that flow.
Yeah.
And I mean, that could be a huge savings for the plant, right? Like if we can't afford to buy a flow meter for that particular process, we can use Greg's calculation to get the flow rate accurate to, let's say, 5%.
Yeah.
95% sort of for that, yeah.
Still good enough.
Good enough, yeah.
Still good enough.
I think transport phenomena was the one that broke me and taught me, like, you know what? Just go back to, and this is now work related, obviously.
Yeah.
Just go back to first principles. See if you can model your problem in the concept or the perspective of like a first principle solution, and then take it from there. So transport phenomena.
That's the one. Okay. Last one.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could sit with your first year self before starting chemical engineering, what piece of advice will you give yourself? Can be academic or otherwise. Don't go there.
I won't go there. First year, when was first year? 2018. I think I would probably tell that guy, firstly buy Bitcoin. I'd probably tell him, like, cause look, I mean, there are a few vices that I picked up in uni, but nothing hectic, like maybe just smoking here and there.
Yeah.
Hubbly, obviously, and then just alcohol from time to time. I tell him to stay away from it.
Yeah.
My belief is that like that stuff, look, I don't have anything against it, right? But this is from my personal experience, especially alcohol. It sucks away willpower. That's just how I feel. Like if you have sheer desire to want to do something, test it yourself. Like if you don't, like, I know you don't drink, but let's say you were someone that like drink occasionally, you can sort of like test it. You can tell yourself, okay, I'm not going to drink for 3 weeks. Then I want to try an activity. And then maybe just have a drink or two, just to a point where you get tipsy. And then see your willpower after that. I promise you, like, it takes away from willpower. And I think it's lasting. I don't think it's a thing of where like it stays and it goes away, because it puts you in a temporary state of happiness.
Yeah.
Where you think you've accomplished because of the dopamine. But in actual fact, you haven't, So I would tell him to stay away from most things.
Stay away from alcohol. Stay away from any substance, cocaine, whatever.
Yeah, no, stay away from it, guys. I think happiness comes from within. Like,
comes from within.
Yeah. And look, I'm not perfect, right? Like if I go have a steak now, I'm gonna have a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah. Like if it's a regular thing, like it becomes a habit now.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking, guys. Please don't feel bad. You can have a beer. You can have 2 beers. It's fine. Don't make it a habit, guys.
Yeah, just a habit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see.
I tell him that. Yeah.
Leave it.
Don't look in the direction. It might be fun, but no. And what else would I tell him? I tell him to think more outside of the box. Like you know what? Now I wish I was able to capture this whole AI trend thing that's happening.
Yeah.
I wish I could have been at the forefront of all of these things. So I tell him to be more open-minded.
Yeah.
Just because I'm studying chemical engineering, that's not the be-all end-all. Keep your mind open, learn new things.
On the side.
Yeah. On the side, yeah.
Good.
What would you tell your first yourself?
My first year self learned it very quickly. In second year, or just in first year, it was bad. I was used to being the guy that works alone and stuff.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I came with that mentality. Even the guy I'm telling you about the transport, it was his best thing. He came to me in first year, like, hey man, how are you doing in math class with Daramon and stuff. I came man, how are you doing? I was like, good. I was like, hey, do you mind if I take your number sometime so we can study together? I was like, this person doesn't even know me. Where are you coming from and stuff? I was like, yeah, you can take my number. Then he messaged me and never responded.
Oh, okay.
Never did. So the whole year I soldiered alone.
Sure.
Yeah, it was bad. That's
a mission, bro.
Yeah, it was bad. Then from there I was like, if you don't want to repeat a year in this, I'll learn fast. Be open to learning, be open to talking to people and stuff like that, or you're gonna suffer.
Yeah.
So starting from there, I was studying more open, and then
was that
my personality was, I was just more like a quiet person. I didn't like talking.
Oh, okay, yeah. Did that come from high school, or was it something you developed in uni?
What,
being quiet, being alone?
No, from high school.
Oh, okay.
I used to soldier it alone and everything. So it's more like people will come to me, not me going to people.
I get you.
So this time I was like, yeah. You don't know it, you don't keep quiet, you have to go to people.
You have to go to people, yeah.
So most of the time in high school, I guess it was easy things. Everything was easy. So that's what sometimes people will come to me, but because I would understand things better. Yeah. But in varsity, it was different.
Different, huh?
Yeah, so from the get-go, it was like, don't think you're that guy.
Yeah.
Don't think you're that guy. Talk to everybody. Just,
But you see, that's a mindset of a high achiever. I would argue, I get it.
Yeah.
Right? And you learned. But if you notice, most high achievers have that, I am the guy.
Yeah, I am the guy. You must get it yourself. Yeah, so I was like, be open. Sometimes you can get it by yourself, but instead of you working 3-5 hours, you can speak to someone and get it within an hour.
Yeah.
Why do that to yourself?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're speaking about.
I was like, even when it comes to these people, their connections, they have people from previous years, they share documentation. Bro, I'll get notes from previous the thoughts and everything. I'm this thing, I have the answers to it. Because I was like, if I didn't talk or I didn't, I'm not nice to this person, they wouldn't have sent it to me.
They would never. And there's always someone in class that there's something.
There's always someone. That one person. Yeah. And you get it to that one person, they'll circulate it.
Find
that one person.
Now that's how we approach something.
Sometimes I'll get out of the exam like, oh no, this is that thing that we did yesterday. Remember? Hey, remember?
Wait a minute, bro. What are you talking about?
I was in my dorm. Nobody there. It was just me because I wanna solve the things alone. I like, nope. We're never gonna do that again. I'm not gonna just. So I was like, be open to people, man. Just learn from others. That's again the reason for this podcast. Learn from people's experiences. So someone has went through it. So why do you have to go through it yourself?
Why reinvent the wheel, right?
You can just go through something else different. That one, just learn from that person, then move forward.
Yeah. No, I get you. And
Yeah.
that is actually a big one, right? Like being open with people, and because like a lot of the stuff, when I remember exams that like we did in the past, like obviously in uni, a lot of the questions were like not exactly repeat questions, but the way you can tackle them were probably covered in a tutorial from the previous year. So, and you wouldn't have gotten that without speaking to this person.
Exactly.
So
yeah, I guess maybe it's more that thing again of where you come from and stuff, or being the first in the generation of doing this and stuff.
Yes.
So you want to do everything soldiering it alone and stuff. So it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, you suffer.
Yeah, I get you. Are you first generation graduate as well in your family, or is it someone before you that did it?
Varsity, yeah.
Damn. Yeah, that's a big one, huh?
Yeah. So it's like you go into this foreign place. Nobody in the family has been there.
Yeah.
So you have to navigate it by yourself. Yeah. Even if you have to call them, he's talking about this. What are they gonna do?
It's you and you.
You soldier it alone. Everything. I remember my roommate. We got kicked out with Rez.
Out of the dorms.
Yeah, because NS hasn't paid us yet.
Yeah.
Before my sponsor. Yeah. So NS hasn't paid us yet. I didn't leave.
What do you mean you didn't leave?
I didn't leave. I went to the management for that building. Spoke to someone there. Not proud, but I used the language to get my way. No, English is not gonna work there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw this colored lady there. I was like, yeah, no, this is my opportunity.
Yeah.
Then she's like, oh no, I can give you 2 more days. Yeah. Then after that, I don't.
No, but that's so cool, man. Just
because again, everyone was getting with fingerprints there. So now the security has to open the doors for us, and then because my fingerprint doesn't work.
Weird.
Yeah. So it's just a long story. I didn't even call anyone at all. So what are they gonna do about it? So it was just like that thing of used to soldiering things alone by myself.
Doing something yourself and getting it done by yourself.
So yeah, it was like just that. But yeah.
Yeah, and you see, these are the sort of battles that people fight at uni, and people just see like, oh no, it's a graduation gown in the head. This person is lucky.
It's not only academics. You get that. It's not only academics. So it's not only academics.
Yeah.
But now, coming into work. A lot of academic stuff in 45 minutes, I tell you. Coming to work, you transitioned from chemical and you come into the industry, you're doing instrumentation and control.
Yeah.
What sparked that? Why change of mind?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it started for me when I did VAC work at Sasol.
Yeah.
I think this was like 2019. Yeah, second year. It was a good opportunity I got afforded to get. So essentially, I did my my VAC work as a process engineer at I think Rectasol. I'm allowed to mention that, right? Rectasol, So that's basically after Sasol's gas, like where they do gasification, the plant directly after. It was quite interesting. It was a more hands-on approach, practical. But for me, the thing, it's like, okay, I'm doing this in uni and I'm seeing it's being done. That's great and all. I love it. But is there more to this? That was my question. Is there more to this? How can I get to know more than this?
Yeah.
More than the process. And I realized that, like, for me personally, being a process engineer, yes, it would have given me like specialized skills, but what if I could know like the process and just beyond the process? And that's when I was led to process control engineering, because it basically stems from diversifying my skill set. Like, look, even now as a process control engineer, like, yeah, sure, I might not know much of the process as a process engineer does, but I can still like channel my energy to learning that, and it will come quite easily, as opposed to like a process engineer going to instrument and control. It's going to take a bit of effort. Because it took effort for me. It took effort for most of the process engineers to go to process control.
Yeah.
From my experience.
Our generation, you're the only person that I know did that, except Gideon, but he's over. And he did that after the GDP, and he was a process engineer and moved.
Yeah, I think it's a story.
Yeah, but you just like from get go, you did that. So
yeah, I know. There's another mate of mine in ICE that also did the same. He did Superchem.
What now?
Not now, but
before us,
a year before we started.
Oh, okay.
So he did that.
Oh, okay.
And I think also just confirmed my thoughts with him. And he's like, I think process control, it gives you, I don't want to say an edge, but it gives you more skills.
Yeah.
Because it's quite diverse what you do in process control engineering.
Yeah, you guys are doing like some great stuff. Okay, ICE people.
Mm-hmm.
Like for your first 2 years working at Sasol, what was most interesting thing? Because you were in ICE and process. Yeah. So like anything that was interesting that you worked on, or the department that you got exposure to?
Yeah, I think the most interesting one for me would be with the APC team, Advanced Process Control team.
Mm-hmm.
So they are a department in ICE that specializes in maintaining your advanced process control systems. The hardware, well, not the hardware per se, but like just maintaining those strategies, updating them when needed. But essentially, what they do is they look at optimization opportunities on a large scale, like where you can save like a lot of money for the company. So that is a quick way to get yourself known in the company.
Yeah.
And I've met smart people in that team, like really smart people. And the interesting thing for me about that particular team is like when they use machine learning concepts to infer or predict, let's say, certain purities of certain streams or whatever the case may be based on independent variables. So they use like, when I was there still, they used mainly like a form of multivariable linear regression in order to infer, let's say, the purity of a stream. And through using that predictive control, you can actually limit, let's say, how much of product you're wasting before it even enters that stream, because you have a prediction on what that value is going to be. Okay. So you use predictive control to do optimization. That was quite interesting for me. So I was taken behind the scene on how that is done, how it's implemented, how you achieve that control on Sasol's network architecture, in terms of like what hardware you need and how that hardware interfaces with your normal distributed control system. How these things are layered, all of it was really interesting stuff that I learned. Interesting stuff. So yeah, I'd say that's the highlight of the past 2 years when I was at Sasol.
Oh, really cool. Then the interesting part, the one that I like the most, the man of many lives, the one that takes courage, decided to leave the company, different industry.
Yeah. That was a big move. It was a big move. How it happened was there were actually, all of these banks and stuff, they usually advertise their graduate programs quite early.
Yeah.
So I saw it, and I have a mate of mine that's at Standard Bank actually. He told me what it's like on that side, but he's more in like global markets, a trader kind of job, like still within investment banking. So he told me about it. I got inspired a bit, but then also I had a long-standing sort of like passion for finance and all of that. Although I didn't know much about like what the actual mechanics are of an investment bank at the time, I still like, you know what? I'm young. Why not do it? Why not do it? You're young, you can recover. If you don't like it, you can always like make a move back into engineering, all of it. So that was my mindset at the time. Did it upset a bit of people? Maybe it did. I don't know. But yeah, I had to take the chance to sort of like prove to myself that like, is this something I want? Can I do it?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I applied in August, did interviews throughout September, October, and then when I got the letter that, you know what, I'm accepted, I should start in Jan, I was over the moon, because often as a process engineer, as a process control engineer, you always just think, oh no, I'm dedicated now to this lane. This is what I can only do. But that's not true. Your skills are transferable. People will pay top dollar for your analytical skills, your the way you look at data, the way you look at problems, how you can solve them. And I think that's the logic from the banks. They think, or they feel like, you know, this person is analytical. Obviously, they have the ability to solve complex problems. They've proven it because they work for a top company.
Yes.
So, then I got in, and then, that was basically the journey for me getting from engineering to investment banking. You might ask what inspired it. I think, number one, like, I'm young. Number two, I just feel like you need to diversify your skills. Because now that I'm back at Sasol, like, I have a clue on like how investment banks work. You know, I know certain mechanics of investment banking. And to some extent, I know a lot more about global politics, global finance than I previously
That's
did.
one thing I was like, while I was preparing for this interview, I was like, actually, I'm clueless when it comes to the things. Because I was looking and trying to figure out like what investment analyst does and all those things. Looking at your LinkedIn profile, I was like, this is a different language. I was like, I was like, no, man. Like, I was like, so I was learning like while still doing this. And I was like, okay, this is what these people do and stuff like that. So, but the transition, taking chances, and it's brave. And if anything that I like about guys at a young age, because there isn't a lot of them taking bold decisions. That's one thing that fascinates me, because there's a lot of yes ma'am, yes people out there. So seeing people that are outliers, like is it excites me, keeps me like excited. Like, okay, there's still guys out there. You know, but though this is your field of work. This is gonna be an interview. You went through interview, and you impressed the guys. So impress the guys. Okay. So I have, because I was like into this, trying to learn more. So I was like, maybe this question will look good, and this one will look good. But let me just go through them. First one. You've analyzed both the listed and private companies. So what are the most misunderstood opportunities like in the markets? So private, listed, from a global investor perspective.
I think that has to do more with the investor's risk appetite. Look, South Africa is as we all know, it's a risky place to invest in, right? But where there's risk, there's opportunity. So just from a stance on looking at listed and private companies, listed company is just essentially a company whose shares are on the JSE. Private company, their shareholders are private, right? So you'll never know them. In terms of investor opportunities between those companies, I really just think it's all dependent on the investor's sort of like preference. But look, I don't know all of the companies on the JSE, but I think South Africa has a lot of hidden gems in private companies. There's a lot of companies doing some crazy stuff, because if you have a startup in South Africa, or not even a startup, like a well-developed company, but they don't have the capability or the specifications to be listed on the JSE, it doesn't mean they're not a top company.
So there's this, now that you mentioned, like it sparks something, but correct me. When it comes to the IPO, is when the company is listed as public or before it becomes public?
So the IPO is when it becomes public.
When it becomes public.
Private. So you obviously have 100% of your equity as a share. Like the company has 100% equity.
So people like externally can invest in the company now. Okay.
So then what they do is they take a certain portion of that equity, right? The company equity that it has, and it floats it on the stock market, like maybe 10%. Then 10% of the company's worth is tied to the stock market.
Oh, okay.
So that's how and then to do that, you obviously go through an investment bank. Usually the equity capital markets team, ECM, they would deal with that. It's a landmark transaction, big moment in the company's history. You as an analyst who has like 1.5 year experience, you meeting a CEO, now it's a different ballgame, right?
Yeah.
And this was the crazy thing for me. Like when 3 months, like when I started at EPSA, 3 months before starting there, I was, speaking to principal specialists, literally someone who's the best in the country with instruments. And then now you go to EPSA, you're meeting a CEO, or CFO. So in my first 2 months, I met the CFO of a private company. Yeah. I can't say the name, obviously, but it was so intimidating. I'm like, actually, but then at the same time, I gained a sense of appreciation because like, wait a minute, why am I meeting all of the best people in South Africa? One moment I was meeting a principal specialist at Sasol, best at instruments, area. Now I'm meeting a CFO, someone who's literally started their own billion-rand company or has been a part of this thing.
Yeah.
So, all of it culminates into like an experience that I just call figuring it out.
Figuring it out. That's a good one. Yeah. No, okay. Yeah. Then, no, this one's for later. You said ECM, so it's a different one. Okay. So, let's see. No, before you go further, you mentioned Jesse. So, the guys that work at the bank, so you guys have an advantage of knowing what's going to go down, what's going to go up, where should you invest in what stock and not. Do you have the information?
You do have inside information, but you can't use it, of course. Like you can't. But you can just see, like there was a certain company that I was also advising on. So like I was in the mergers and acquisitions team. So there were rumors about this company being acquired that the public didn't know, but we knew the truth.
Yeah.
You can't really speak about it. It's very confidential. Yeah. But such things, Okay, so then like if this company is going to be acquired, the stock price is probably going to go up because people know when a company is being bought, it's usually bought at a premium to what it's supposed to be bought at.
Okay. Now I have information to make myself rich, but I can't use it.
You need someone on the inside. Yeah.
Okay. Then let's see. But this is about your thought process. But okay. So when valuing an oil and gas company, so where we are right now, versus a telecom operator, MTN, whatever, all those kind of things, and a consumer goods firm. What are the big shifts in how you approach each?
That's a good question. So I did indicative valuations across all of these different industries or these companies.
Yeah.
I think one major shift that you have to account for when doing a valuation of each of these companies is to look at obviously their industry. And then within that industry, you need to, because when you do a valuation, you're trying to see the companies, it's sort of like counterintuitive how a valuation works. Because when you value an asset, like for example, I don't know, your laptop, you're sort of like looking at what can I get for this laptop now? But when you value a business, you're asking yourself, how much money can this generate me in the next 5 years? And I take that and I discount it by a certain factor that the market governs or gives. And I discount that amount to now, what is that value? That's basically how you get the value of a company. And in doing that, you need to forecast a company's revenue and all of that. That's industry specific. So you'll usually start there to look to ask yourself now, okay, if I want to value this company based on trends in the market, how much money, how much cash are they going to make in the next 5 years? And it's different for each of those companies, right?
Yeah.
Because, for petrochemical companies, more intensive in their processes. So their profit margins aren't the highest because they have so much of expenses on their income statement.
Yeah.
So you need to account for that. Then there's also, so you look at the industry they operate in, right? Then you also look at the valuation multiples. So in finance, when they do valuation, they often talk about valuation multiples, which is usually in the form of enterprise value over EBITDA.
Okay.
So that EBITDA is basically a line item on your income statement that looks at your profitability after your expenses. Your profitability after you've taken out your. So let me just think about this. It's been 4 months ago. But EBITDA, it's basically
I've heard Simon explain it and all that.
Yeah.
Also in the project management and stuff. But
earnings before income, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. So literally after you take out your expenses, that's that figure, that's your EBITDA. And then the EV of a company is just looking at the total sort of like value of the company.
Yeah.
So typically how we do it is we look at your EV over EBITDA, right? What you're trading at, we call it what you're trading at.
Yeah.
And we multiply it by a forward-looking EBITDA or EBITDA value. So how I remember us doing it is you'd usually have broker reports that would forecast your company's EBITDA.
Okay.
So if you look, Sasol has a forecasted EBITDA. If you use Sasol's current trading multiple and multiply it by their forward EBITDA, you can get the enterprise value, the value as it is now based on the forward-looking EBITDA. Right?
Okay.
I know it's a bit, it is a bit, it also took me a while to get it because it's such a new thing.
It's just like, again, like, I don't know much about it, but when you explain, especially in the beginning, the terms that I was learning, did it a long time ago. When is EMS?
Yeah.
The net present value, when you explain, I was like, that's what you're talking about. The DCF, discounted cash flow.
Yeah.
I was like, I learned about these things and you explain it now. I can link it together there and stuff. So
because we did that in process as well. In our course.
Was the management something?
Yeah.
Project management? Was that one? Yeah.
Yeah, but effectively different multiples for different industries. The common thing is always EBITDA, right? Or like, and then you can use it to generate like a sort of like high level value of what a company is worth. Yeah.
Yeah. Then within the finance department, I've had the division you are in is brutal. M&A. So what's one underestimated skill that makes a great deal maker in emerging markets?
One, I think, you know what, this is going to sound a bit like, I don't want to say corny, but it probably is because I feel like the term is overused, but in this field, it genuinely matters. It's the ability to like work and cope under pressure. Like, I don't think people understand what pressure is until you get to like investment banking floor. Like I remember like being staffed on like a couple of deals. Like I think at one point I was doing like 4 deals, and then there's also like marketing that you have to do. It was a stressful time. That's when you get to see now like what pressure is. So I feel like what makes a great deal maker, look, if you're on an analyst level, I would say working under pressure. But the moment you get to associate, vice president and president/director level, then it would be your interpersonal skills, like how you relate to people, how you speak to clients and all of it. Okay. So different strokes for different folks. As an analyst, you need to know how to work under pressure.
I see.
If you're a process engineer, mechanical engineer, going into finance, you will have to know how to work under pressure. Not to say like, in our industry, we don't work under pressure. We do around shutdowns and all of it, but I feel like it's a bit more manageable just from my experience, as opposed to like...
It's more like a periodical, that side.
Yes.
Like the way you are is more like today, tomorrow. Yeah. Maybe we'll see about in 2 days time, but it will be most probably.
Yeah, you need to be able to work under pressure, man. Like,
okay. They call it pitch book war stories.
Okay.
So, what's the most challenging thing about like the pitch book or management presentation you've ever prepared? And what made it so memorable? Let's start there.
I think, you know what, like...
The reason why we get to buy your products in the finance because of your pitch books, I guess.
Yeah, that makes or breaks everything. I think the thing that makes it memorable for me, honestly, when I do work on my own things now, the level of professionalism I have and attention to detail is out of this world.
Yeah.
You know, like I now take note of things that otherwise I wouldn't have. So it developed me quite well professionally. Even at my job now, like I'm more professional with how I prepare my stuff and all of it. So that's one thing that keeps me looking back and saying, you know what, that was an awesome experience. I learned a lot and it shows. The difficult thing about doing pitch books, there's many. It's number one, creativity. I feel like that's overlooked. Like until you're given like a canvas, a PowerPoint, and knowing it's not only like, look, I might think something is creative now, but like my director might think this is nonsense. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What is this? You know, so creativity that aligns with the team's strategic goals, that's important. That was challenging. And then one thing that like I could appreciate about investment banking was like taking all of these numbers and all of these projections and all of these forecasts and putting it on paper in such a way that's engaging. That I've never seen it being done like in any other industry than like investment banking. So that was also like, you know, a highlight for me. Impressive but tough, because it's nice to see it, but when you're doing it, it's an issue. Yeah. So
a rumor. Just to edit in between the questions.
Yeah.
I had people in the finance division industry. You guys are single there because of the hours that you work. But anyway, story for another day. Let's see. So another thing that I hate, the young guys and stuff, they love throwing around the DCF models. But where do you think young analysts go wrong when building one?
I think, look, a DCF from a DCF, right? I can basically, obviously the obvious things, derive the value of a company, see, you know, the financial statements of the company, all of that basic stuff. I think the key to like building a good DCF is understanding the company and the industry you work in. Because when you're building a DCF, you have assumptions that you make. And you can assume that a company's revenue, let's say, look, a company like Sasol is probably, in its peak. If not, like it's slightly coming down, but it's in its peak. So the way you'd model their revenue and how their net income is growing would be different to how you model, let's say, a company in a phase where it's growing rapidly, you know? So I think number one, making reasonable and logical assumptions is first point, I would say, because it can make or break your DCF. Like if I say a company, usually from my experience, usually how we'd model this is to say, like, look, if the company is big and like, you know, it's already like a giant in its industry, let's make it grow at the rate of inflation, the revenue and all of that stuff. So usually if inflation is 3%, we'll settle at 3%. Because that makes sense, right? That's the minimum amount you need to beat the increased costs to stay profitable, basically. So it's a conservative sort of like projection, but it works. The second one, make or break with a DCF. This is going to sound, it's formatting. It's formatting. Because remember now, a client is going to see this. Your director must see this. You cannot give them a DCF that looks like nonsense. You know what I mean? So formatting is tough because it takes time. It takes time, and it is an objective thing that something must look nice, but it's also subjective because you might not like my formatting because I don't like gray boxes. But I like gray boxes, you know. So it's a thing where like universally it must look nice, but then when it comes to specific formats, obviously your director or your vice president or your associate is gonna say, you know what, change it to this. But as long as it looks nice.
But okay. Then you now mentioned the macros and whatever. You mentioned inflation. Oh, let's get cancelled if we get cancelled. But the United States president, the tariffs and stuff. What do you think about his strategy then? Because shaking like how it affects because this macroeconomic stuff they also affect South African stuff and looking at our company as well. Some of them that the decisions that they made up north there they affected the business and stuff. So his strategy does it align? Who is it benefiting? Us or everybody in the world or just his country or whatever you want to call it?
I think this whole thing of tariffs, look, it's too obvious to say he wants to destroy the global economy, right? I genuinely think the whole concept of implementing tariffs is to equalize the trade deficit that America is experiencing in terms of the sheer value of their trade. And also, I think it's another way to get the world to bend their knee, right? Because America is built on consumerism.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So if most of your business is in America and there's a 45% tariff slapped on you for shipping things, you're gonna bend the knee. What you gonna do? Find a new market?
Nah.
You're not. I genuinely think it's a strategy to realign.
Yeah.
Look, the guy wants to make his country great. I have no problem with it. I think it's a bold move, and I think he's got balls for doing it. But I do think the end game is like rebalance things and let the world know we are superpower.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the story behind everything that he's doing, but you just have to admit the man got power.
Yeah, no,
he's brave.
and you know what? People make the mistake to think this guy is down for putting tariffs in place. You know how many smart people this guy is surrounded by constantly?
Prof.
Massive economists. He's got access to the most powerful banker in the world, Jamie Dimon. like the guy is connected. He's not stupid.
There's one time, I didn't understand what he was doing, but there was one time, like I think 2 days ago, I saw an interview with him and Elon Musk. Elon Musk explained the whole point of bringing like America back to his standards and all that.
Yeah,
talking about the debt they're in and how they're gonna do a turnaround and stuff. I was like, this is genius.
Yeah,
he's tough, but he's gonna piss off a lot of people. But it's genius.
Yeah, it is, man. It is.
So, but yeah, then. Okay, when preparing the macro economy, this is the question that I had actually, but I was just like, let's add the Trump juice in there. Let's see. Yeah. So when preparing the macroeconomic analysis for clients, what data points do you find yourself going back to again and again and again? Unemployment, inflation, interest rates.
Those ones. Because I'll tell you why. Because that gives. So the thing about like your standard indicators, your standard global indicators, right? Whether it be inflation, employment rates, GDP, all of that stuff, it tells you about the health of that country, right? Like if you were to do an analysis on South Africa's macroeconomics, by looking at all of those factors and showing that to a client next to one another, they sort of paint a story, you know? For example, if you see now, the interest rates are going up and they're staying, or they've been up and they're coming slightly down, right? And you can see as that is coming down, you can see GDP is somewhat improving, right? You can see the employment's becoming better. You can tell that economic stimulation is coming from the government reducing interest rates. And this is having a ripple effect on the rest of the economy. So I think the goal with like preparing like a macroeconomic analysis for a client, or like as a part of a pitch deck for a client, is to tell them like, you know what, look, from what we're seeing, the story that's being painted here, yes, South Africa is risky, but things are improving. Interest rates are coming down. Inflation is low. Unemployment, although high, has been improving. And then that sort of like filters into your story as to, so you do a macroeconomic analysis, then you do industry specific analysis. Like, I don't know, if you're looking at a clothing company, for example, you'll say, you know what, because interest rates are decreasing, all of us, people have more money to spend. So they'll spend on things that make them happy in the name of clothes. So you will share to gain a market share of that realized liquidity in the market. So
I see.
That's how you paint the story.
Yeah. Red flags. We skipping red flags. So, like I said, your division is that they say like it's different one. Is but what's the red flag in M&A process that always makes you pause and go, hold on, this could be something. This could be a problem
from the banker side.
Yeah.
Look, I've only encountered a few of those, but it's usually when there's a disagreement in price between the buyer and the seller.
Okay.
Like, usually, because if you're selling a company, you're gonna want to sell it as much for as high as possible. Exactly. If I'm buying it, I want to buy it on the low.
Yeah.
As long as there's not a big discrepancy in price between me and you, we can come to something. But now, let's say maybe you telling me as the seller, look, I value my company. You say on a per share basis, you say maybe, and let's say your company is listed for some reason. Let's just assume it's listed. So the market views your company on a share basis valued at 70 Rand.
Yeah.
And then I come to you as, the investor. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll buy your company at 75 Rand a share. And then you like, no, but I wanted 95 or 100 Rand. You see, that's a problem because how do you get the two people to meet in the middle?
Yeah,
that is usually like one of the causes of a breakdown in like M&A deals and all of that, like a disagreement between the buyer and seller in terms of price.
Yeah. Okay. Oh no, I skipped this one, but that I did. Like your experience in IPO strategy, right? From your experience, what are the green flags that that signal a company is actually ready to go for? It's actually ready for public markets.
So usually the need from my experience, right, what I've seen, the need to list your stock publicly is usually, it stems from the company wanting to raise more capital. So you can raise money in two ways, via the debt markets.
Yeah.
You go out, you borrow money. Or the second way is through like equity, issuing equity. Issuing equity is all good and all, but sometimes it can prove to be more expensive than debt, especially if your company gains massive value over time. Because if I'm an investor and I own 5% while your company is valued at $1 billion, when your company is 10 billion, you 10x my money.
Yes.
And in the process, I probably receive dividends and all of that stuff. So a company can be ready. There's no set point for when a company could be ready, right? Because your company could be as big as possible. If you find an investor that's willing to give you a certain portion of money for a certain percentage equity, then you probably wouldn't need to list at that point in time. I just say when a company is ready to list, if they need the money, they can list. If they're big enough, then if they comply with the JSE standards, then sure, go for it.
Yes. I've been holding you hostage for a long time now.
No, it's I'm getting emails.
Yeah. So just gonna touch two, but I'm just wanna see which one exactly. But anyway, let's talk about the creating teasers, right?
Yeah.
So creating teasers and the confidential information memorandum, the CIM, right?
Yeah.
So this is both art and science between the two. So what's your golden rule when crafting a compelling narrative for a sale? But before we start with that one, teaser or CIM?
So you use teaser first.
Use teaser first, yeah. But which one do you prefer?
Teaser because it's short.
It's short. Yeah, you gonna say that. Yeah, you gonna say that.
Confidential information memoranda, bro. You're looking at like 50 pages. That one's hard because you have to dig into a company.
Yeah.
You have to dig into everything.
Yeah. So it's more like a teaser, like a starter.
Yeah.
Give you that, exactly. Then you're happy. Okay.
Yeah. Usually, depending on like how you're doing the sale, could be like bilateral, which is like from buyer to seller. The buyer, the seller, basically between two parties, or it could be an auction. When it's an auction, this is where you as the seller, you have a bit of power because everyone wants this company. Why should I sell it to you for this price? Give me more. You know what I mean? So with preparing a teaser, I think what makes for a good teaser is short, straight to the point. Should tell the seller or the buyer, what am I buying? And how do I stand to benefit when I buy this? What makes this company so good that I could take my money and buy it?
Yeah.
So it should be straight to the point. I'd say that's the purpose of a teaser. A teaser is usually like 5 pages, 10 pages of PowerPoint. That's sort of like, just speaking from the last teaser that I created, it was very systematic in a sense that we looked at I'm not even going to announce the country, but the country's GDP, all of that stuff, the macro indicators, to say, you know what, if you're buying this as an international investor, the country is fine. Despite what the news is saying, the country is fine. Then we dig into the company. We say, okay, you know what, since from the time that COVID happened, we've seen a stark recovery in this particular industry for the specific reasons that we give them. So you tell them, okay, this is the reasons why we've seen this much growth. Why do we think this growth is going to continue? Then we do like a small forecast into the future to say, if you look at this indicator, it tells us this is going to go up, which means this is probably going to go up. If that particular industry as a whole grows, your market share grows. And that's assuming you keep the same market share.
Yeah.
Obviously, like if you're buying this company as a new investor, you're going to look to increase market share so you can benefit even more. So yeah, golden, that's what I'd say about a teaser.
Okay. Then let's see. The most underrated market, African market. Give me one.
Sure. The most underrated one, Nigeria. Nigeria.
Okay. No explanation. Nigeria. Okay.
Nigeria.
Then Excel or PowerPoint?
Excel.
Oh yeah. Excel.
PowerPoint is a mess, man.
Yeah. Okay. You already told me about a teaser in the CIM, so that's fine. Then one financial metric that you can't live without.
One financial metric that I can't live without.
Yeah.
Whether it be a ratio or like just a...
Yeah, no, actually I had one, yeah. So, because I was also like wondering, what are they saying when they mean like financial metrics? So I see what they say, like, what are financial metrics? They mention quantitative measures, performance, but this has nothing. The key performance indicators.
I'll go like straight into one. For me, net income margin, like that's the big one for me. Like just margin in general, for me is an important one, because if I talk about my net income margin, it tells me like what percentage of the revenue that I'm getting or the money that I'm getting in actually stays in my pocket.
Okay.
So anything to do with margin, whether it be EBITDA margin, gross profit margin, all of it, it's usually a good indicator of, because I mean, you can even apply it in your personal life, right? Like how much of the net income that I get actually stays in my pocket.
Yeah.
How much of the revenue I get actually stays in my pockets. Yeah.
Okay. Good. And let's see. Looking ahead, what excites you about the future of investment in not South Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa? What involves Namibia and the other ones at the bottom?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, let's say Sub-Saharan Africa. Any trends, political shifts, policy shifts, innovation that you are keeping a close eye on?
Everyone probably knows the answer to this. AI, right? AI and cloud and all of it. Now, one thing that people I don't think are taking note of, and I've heard about it a lot, but I was on the other side.
Yeah,
is data centers, because data centers act as the hard infrastructure for your cloud functions, which is where your AIs are. So that for me is exciting for Africa, because you must remember Africa has about 1 billion plus people. All of these people needs to be digitized. They need to have a digital footprint.
Yeah.
Do you understand the opportunity that presents itself in that? If you go on Google now and you Google data centers in Africa, it's not much, but Google the investment pouring into Africa for data center infrastructure, then you'll understand the scale of what's coming.
Yeah.
So for me, AI, data centers, those are the hard hitters. Those are the ones that are going to shape Africa over the 2030 to 2040 decade.
Yeah. Then it leads to this guy that was I saw him on Instagram. He was mentioning like people should stop studying degrees or that are not aligning with the current affairs.
Yeah.
It was like you find yourself doing a degree, then at the end of the day you don't have a job.
Yeah.
But you knew from the get go, like you don't have they don't absorb people in that field. So make sure you align with the current affairs, trends and stuff like that, and then study that.
Yeah, I agree.
That's why passion sometimes doesn't pay bills. So if your passion aligns with what is the current address, big up. But
and it's a sad thing, like, you know, like you can have a passion for something but it doesn't pay the bills. And you know, in our economy now, like this VAT increase that's coming now, when is it? On the 1st of May?
1st of May.
Man, like you need to prioritize what's gonna pay the bills.
Yeah.
And that's what I also like about engineering. You can literally become a data scientist tomorrow.
Exactly.
If you wanted to. So
well, I guess, yeah. But the guys that are, let's say, in engineering, that want to go in the industry, the financial industry, what advice would you give them?
I would say number one, do it ASAP. Reason why I'm saying that is because the sooner you do it, the younger you enter the financial world. And if you find yourself in a position where you need to work your bones off, then you can do it.
Yes.
You can work hard because you're young. Do it when you're young, when you're still fresh. Number two, try and manage your expectations, right? Like, it's nice to be in finance, wearing a suit and all of it, but you're going to work hard. So manage your expectations. Don't go in with the mindset that, you know what, I'm going to be in Cent and I'm going to be in Rosebank. It's going to be this life. You know, I'm going to have lattes.
Most of your time will be inserted by the office.
Excellent PowerPoint, bro. Excellent PowerPoint. So don't go in with the attitude that, you know what, I'm going to have a latte on. I mean, you can do those things, right? But like, you're going to have to put that on the back burner, at least until you're a bit more senior.
Yeah,
you know, you can go in with the right mindset. I'm here to learn. I'm here to contribute, right? I'm here to increase shareholder value because that's what we're there to do, right? You're there to increase shareholder value.
It's business.
So, yeah, fix the mindset. Number three, I would say do something on the side to like increase how much you know. I know you can literally do like the CFI courses. Like there's this, if you check Corporate Finance Institute, there's like really comprehensive material there that's paid for and you get certificates. You can do that to upskill. You can do a CFA. You can do FRM, upskill.
Yeah.
Get a feel for what it's like. Because when I went in, I didn't know what I'm signing up for. I was told you're going to go into mergers. I was like, yeah, take me. I want to be good. There. Take me there. Yeah. So, yeah. And then, yeah, get a mentor.
Yeah, that's good. So, you tell me then. I can tell. I told you you're brave. And I can also tell you're curious individual. You are so curious that when you were a child, you ended up breaking your neck, your arm, what happened? Talk to me. What happened?
Yo, the boy had too much energy when he was young.
The boy had too much energy. Nah,
I guess, yeah, there's just curiosity that didn't kill the cat, but didn't kill this cat. You know, this cat has 9 lives.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it was just curiosity and having a lot of energy.
Yeah.
You know, to a point where like I sort of like struggled to express myself. And would express myself through like climbing things and then obviously the result would be like you fall and you get hurt. So
yeah, okay.
I think it was a freedom, a way to express my creativity. Let me say.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I was told one thing.
I hope it wasn't bad.
It's bad.
Bad.
Yeah,
that doesn't sound like me.
I was like, nah, man, even if I have to get a shambok, I'll just speak to this man. I'll just You love your phone.
Gosh.
Stop being on your phone. Digital person will stop being on your phone. You love your phone, but stop being on your
Do
phone.
you not love your phone?
Actually,
You don't.
yeah. Even if you check my WhatsApp, I have my mother, I have the podcast group, I have my partner, then everything is archived.
Oh, okay, nice.
And most of my time, the only thing they have an issue with me with is my phone is always on D&D.
Oh, okay.
Especially on over the weekends, Friday, put on D&D. Like, what are you looking? I just,
Sure.
yeah.
How do you do that, bro? Like, put your phone on do not disturb. Then what do you get up to? Like, hobbies, life, or what? What do you?
The person I need is always with me. So,
Okay. Yeah. You know what? I do have a bit of a problem with my phone. I think it's an addiction at this point. But it's not the worst thing, right?
it's not the worst.
There's someone out here who's using things, bro.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So, but yeah, is that, and then let me see. You must let the world know this lovey-dovey Rico.
This.
Yeah, this lovey-dovey Rico. It's like when you feel with the family, with the kids.
No.
You hug them and everything.
No, you must always show that you're tough on the outside.
You tough on the outside. Yeah.
No, I'm joking. Like, you know what? It's one of those things where, like, as a person, you have layers, right?
Yeah.
Not everyone should have access to that version of you.
Yeah. That's exactly what your partner mentioned. I was like, he has that thing. If you have to see with his family, the loved ones, he's lovey-dovey and all of that. So, man, then
yeah, my partner.
It's like, hey, you should it again, man.
Yo, so much.
Now they know. Okay. Then one thing I like was your thing is it's not. People are like more like double agents. Your personal life you're like this. Your professional life you're like this. You was like your life is parallel. Like you've been disciplined, professional, even the personal life.
Yeah.
You are like that.
Yeah.
When it comes to gym or whatever you set your mind on, is like that.
Yeah.
And then one of your motivations will be like family.
Yeah.
Like again, you need to be with your family here. That's what you're doing. So it's great. And then last thing, I mean, keep your people proud.
Yeah.
I mean, your partner is proud of you.
Yeah.
So it's more like it's usually good when people that are close to you see you like as that role model.
Yeah.
I mean, you might not hear it from them every now and then, but they actually do, even if they don't have words to say it. So maybe in the background, just like the girl told me.
Yeah.
Well, last time she told you.
Yo.
But the thing is, she is.
She is, yeah. No, 100%.
Exactly.
I get your point.
So we might think like we're doing a lot, but nobody's seeing it or anything like that. But people do see it.
People do see it. Yeah.
And even the ones that are close to you. So, and they got your back. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I told you the generation that we have was the right way. Not weaklings, but
Yikes.
But but just keep on being that. Using your partner's words, 1% of the 1%.
Yeah.
So keep on being 1% of the 1%. So
we're gonna try.
Yeah. So never balk, not balk in that way, but don't go with the wind. That's all.
No, 100%, man. Thanks for the wise words. And yeah, man, I think the whole podcast thing, I think it sort of like resonates what I also believe in, where like, you want to take a chance with one of your hobbies, do something outside of your comfort zone. And I mean, look at where you've gotten it so far, bro. It looks good. When I got in here, I was like, there's a professional set. What's happening here, So it's really impressive to see and inspiring to see someone go for what they want and they do it with passion.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm seeing from you. I've also seen from you, you very big on the gym. I've tried to like embody that, like, that dedication.
Yeah.
So I do also think you're a good force.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I think those people that you're coaching, they lucky, yeah?
Yeah, they're lucky. They better know that.
They're lucky. You guys are lucky.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, I appreciate it. So, last thing, play a game again. Closing, starting with it, ending with it. Yeah. So, let's see. 3 more cards.
3 more cards. 3 more.
Yeah.
I'll take 1 from the back, 1 from the middle. Hey, I almost read it. And 1 from the front.
And then just lean that thing like.
Okay.
There we go. If you could have one dream come true, what would it be?
One dream. I think there's a side project I'm working on, and I know, obviously there's a side project I'm working on. It leads, if it works, it could bring in a lot of money. So that would be my wish. I could have wished for 1 billion rand, but I think it's gonna lead there if it works.
We have a CEO of Nvidia, but whatever that company, that guy came really good. So this is him. Did you have a chance to be kind to anyone today?
When I got here, Greg, I was kind to you. So I did have a chance. I had a chance, yes.
You had a chance.
I had a chance.
Okay. Last one. If you had to choose only 3 words to describe, why is it
to describe you?
Yeah. What would you say?
To describe you or myself?
Me.
You. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I would say number 1, professional. I think you're a professional guy.
Yes.
I remember seeing this guy when we started at Sasol, he'd wear shirts every day.
Yeah.
I was like, I should step up my game. I'm out here on a t-shirt. So yeah, man, professional. I think number 2, I think you're disciplined, Jen. I see you as a disciplined guy. I see you a very disciplined guy. And number 3, I'd say you embody strength, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because, bro, I can't imagine this guy being stressed or anything. Not because you don't go under stress, but because you look like you can handle it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I say.
Anyway, guys, just because I can handle the world doesn't mean.
No, give him stress. Give him stress. Let's push him to the limit.
Yeah, no. But yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity to interview you.
No, cool.
Your journey is interesting, amazing. So wish you all the best.
No, cool.
And keep pushing the boundaries.
We keep pushing, bro. We keep pushing.
And our people there, please watch the podcast. Let people subscribe. Tell them about the good word.
Yeah.
I mean, the high school people going to varsity, coming into the workforce. This can help someone. So please like, share, subscribe. Thank you. Bang,